Broken promises are pretty commonplace in the AAA landscape these days, especially where microtransactions are concerned. Developers try to hide their intentions as much as possible, right up until launch or even after launch, so that people buy the games before they realize that they've been duped. And there's no better case of this than Fallout 76, a game that launched woefully broken, unpolished, unfinished, and that broke promises where microtransactions are concerned. They were promised to be cosmetic only, but Bethesda quickly backtracked on that promise when they realized how financially lucrative doing gameplay affecting microtransactions is. So here is the latest news on that front. The following information comes from this blog post on the official Bethesda website. This was published on October 17th, 2019, and the headline for this reads, New Wastelanders Release Date, Private Worlds, The Atomic Shop, and more. This blog post provides an update on what's ahead for Fallout 76, and it's not all great. Now, they did announce right here that the Wastelanders content release, which is supposed to add NPCs back into the world of Fallout, that's going to be delayed. So it reads right here, it's going to need more time to be the best, most polished update it can be, so we're delaying its release to Q1 next year. It was supposed to come out this year. That is no longer the case. Now, as far as this goes, if a delay ultimately means a better product in the end, I'm all for that. Frankly, a delay is exactly what they should have done with the base Fallout 76, but too late for that. But we're not here to talk about the Wastelanders content update. We're here to talk about the Atom Shop updates that are coming, which Bethesda had an extensive excerpt to relay in this blog post. So let's go through this and bask at the utter nonsense and just egregious propaganda that this is. So this right here reads, we love that there are so many types of players within Fallout 76, and one of our primary goals is to reward everyone, no matter how you play. This includes our approach to earning atoms through challenges and the types of items to unlock with them in the Atomic Shop. Our approach to these items at launch was to keep them purely cosmetic. So just to highlight that fact, we can see right here Pete Hines talking about how, yes, as we have said, there will be cosmetic ones in reference to Fallout 76 microtransactions. And then when somebody else asked if there will ever be any gameplay affecting items sold in the Atomic Shop, Pete Hines said, no, only cosmetic. And then speaking to website GameSpot, Pete Hines said right here in an interview, quote, the Atomic Shop is cosmetic stuff to make sure folks understand. Look, there's a line. Yep, game companies are always more than happy to take the moral high ground until they have to compromise their morals and values for financial gain. There are people who have crossed it, but we're going to stay on the right side of it in terms of the things you can spend money on and how this stuff works and what you're getting for your $60. How laughable does this statement look now? How pathetic does Bethesda look now? Fast forwarding to today, after Pete Hines issued this statement in which he acted all high and mighty. Anyway, the post continued, but after looking at all the data, it became clear that to consistently deliver content that keeps Fallout 76 fresh and exciting for all, we need to rethink our approach to the Atomic Shop. While we had many ideas on what to add to the Atomic Shop, one of the ways was the direct result of the community's feedback. We heard from many of you who wanted items with some real utility, yes, but they wanted that to be implemented as part of the gameplay loop, as part of the reward system and the progression system, not to be monetized. You're reinterpreting what people actually asked you. Yes, they asked for repair kits and scrap kits, stuff of that nature, but it wasn't meant to be monetized the way you guys are doing because you promised cosmetics only. So people expected that stuff like repair kits and scrap kits would be implemented into the game for free without any caveats and in a way that makes sense. You guys took advantage of your community. With the cosmetics only promise, people thought, well, if we ask for gameplay stuff, they wouldn't sell that to us. So people gave you the feedback in regards to what gameplay elements they'd like to see. And what you did wasn't just give that out to people who already bought the game for $60 or whatnot. to people who have already spent money on the microtransactions, which were meant to pay for the updates and the gameplay additions. Instead, you charged for the convenience. You made people tell you what's inconvenient about the game so that you could exploit that and then sell the fix to that convenience at a premium. You guys are awful, really. You guys just suck. The post continued. Starting in April, we began adding items such as repair kits, scrap kits, the Collectron station, and a working refrigerator. These have since become the most popular category in the Atomic Shop. We're also still working on all the previously announced items and new cosmetic categories. So there's still a couple of gameplay affecting microtransactions that are coming down the line, stuff that they previously hinted at but haven't released yet. And basically they're using the excuse that the convenience items are popular to justify the fact that they're putting them in the Atomic Shop, selling it right back to us. Now, the reason convenience sells so well was explained actually by Torolf Jernstrom, CEO of Tribeflame, who did that keynote called Let's Go Whaling, in which he described in extensive detail how game companies go about exploiting consumers. And at the very top of the list, highlighted in bold, is convenience microtransactions. And the reasoning behind this is explained by Torolf right here. So let me play this clip for you.
Now, the reason I highlighted convenience up there or progress is that most of your sales will be here. Customization, hats and stuff, they're nice, but you'll have a single-digit percentage of your income coming from that, if you do both that and progress. Competitive advantage is good, but you can go overboard with it and have an unbalanced game, which is, if it's too clearly pay to win, people will stop playing. And content, it takes a lot of resources and time to do that. Selling content is very expensive. Hardly any team can keep up producing content at the pace needed.
And that's why these have become the most popular category in the Atomic Shop, because they are the most manipulative of microtransactions. They're what people want because it feels like the only way to play the game in a way that feels less just insufferable is by buying the convenience stuff. The post continued, we want to create an Atomic Shop experience where players feel good about spending their hard-earned atoms. To make the system more fun and engaging for all players, we plan on reworking parts of the challenge and reward system next year to be clearer, more fun, and more impactful for all types of players. Who knows what that means ultimately? I mean, last time they updated the challenges, they started to hand out less Atomic Shop points or atoms, the premium currency in the game. They started handing out less of that. So it made it harder for people to buy stuff in the Atomic Shop purely through gameplay. This update finally concluded with, of course, players can also buy atoms, and we're careful with everything we add to not upset the game's balance. Our main objective is to avoid a situation where players can spend money to gain a competitive advantage or make the game worse for other players. I'll repeat again, a game does not have to feature pay-to-win microtransactions in order to feature microtransactions that are still manipulative, egregious, just all around scummy. Something doesn't have to blatantly be a win button for it to suck. Stuff like repair kits and scrap kits, they should not be a part of the Atomic Shop. Convenience should be given, not sold. The post then said this, even more so, we want systems that allow players who do choose to buy atoms to make the game better for others, not just themselves. So they admit right here that the stuff they're selling, the gameplay microtransactions, do make the game better. Bethesda has moved the goalposts from cosmetics-only microtransactions, no gameplay affecting stuff, to only gameplay affecting items that aren't strictly pay to win, that don't give you a huge competitive advantage. But stuff that makes the game better, that's fair game now. Now that they have reconsidered some things, now that they have, what does it say here? Looking at all the data. Whatever that means, that's such a vague thing. To be like, we have made the calculations and we have realized we have to put in stuff that makes the game better and sell that to you. You know, they call these stuff like time savers or whatever. But the ones actually going out of their way to waste our time are the developers, the publishers, and the game that was purposely designed to waste our time. not to be fun, but to waste our time so that we have to pay to not waste time so that the game can be fun. And then the last sentence of this excerpt reads, with these principles in mind, we make careful decisions about the items we offer to keep it fair for everyone. Don't you dare sit there and talk about fair after breaking your promises. It isn't fair for people who bought Fallout 76 expecting cosmetic-only microtransactions to suddenly wake up and realize that convenience elements that should have just been a free update is suddenly something you have to pay for. That's what's not fair about all this. The lack of transparency, the broken promises. I'll remind you again, Pete Hines here talked about how there's a line, how there are people who have crossed it, how Bethesda would never do that. And yet right here, they're saying, yeah, we're going to cross that line because of the data we have looked into. We have to do this. Oh, and you guys asked for this. We heard from many of you who wanted items with some real utility. The community feedback shaped the microtransactions. No, it didn't. You guys took the community feedback and then reshaped it into your own image. That's what's going on here. Bethesda's just so full of crap. I've never lost so much respect for a company so fast than Bethesda throughout the whole Fallout 76 debacle. And this statement right here further proves that they deserve zero respect. I mean, this is just insultingly dishonest. And how they're framing this whole situation. And how lax they're being about declaring and swearing and promising cosmetics only and then just backtracking that on a whim. Just treating that as if it's no big deal. Oh, and here's the cherry on top. Even with all the microtransactions they're now selling us in the Atomic Shop, they can't even be bothered to give us private worlds for free. This is also a highly requested feature for Fallout 76. It's basically private servers, and it'll allow players to host their own servers where they can do things like mod the game and stuff like that. And it reads right here, our goal for players who purchase this service. So this is something you're going to have to buy in order to take advantage of. And sure, maybe private worlds cost money and resources to maintain, whatever, but that's what the microtransactions are supposed to pay for. So yeah, these are one man's take on this whole situation. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on Bethesda's statement in regards to the future of the Atomic Shop in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.